All right. Good morning. Happy Thursday, and welcome to some more Minecraft musings. This is the Joker Tower, and yeah, just kind of remembering where we're at with all this. Yeah, I'm extending some of this Nether wart uh, grow operation, although I think I might rather expand it somewhere else. Because see how this is kind of like creeping into the area, the common area of where we wander around at. So rather than do that, I think I would rather it creep under here. I mean, because if you look in here, it ends. Like, see, it doesn't really go that far back. I mean, worst case, even from the door. Yeah, I don't think. Let's see, what is this? 777. Ooh. Oh. Oh, it's 155. 155. There you go. So this is actually the same. So it does not go back farther than this. Meaning, I could go ahead and do something like this. And basically expand it back in this way. So, anyways, just wanted to hop on here, do another musing. I'm using Grok 3, which is awesome. And I think I am going to bump my subscription up. I don't know. I want to do YouTube first and then bump up my XApp subscription because I'm a subscriber, but I'm not a premium subscriber. So, like, I still pay for XApp. It's like what something like I think $11 or $12 a month since I'm Android. I'm not iPhone, so it's a little more complicated to the Android version, and I think it's a little buggier too. I think they really only developed it for Apple folks, which in Apple in itself, like you're basically paying more for a device, but it does give you you're paying for the peace of mind and the simplicity. Like that's what Apple is. Like I mean, and not just that. Like they're getting into some pretty high powered stuff. Like I have a couple iPad Pros now that like, whew, yeah. So, but don't worry, I'm not. It's not like I'm rich or fancy or anything. Still, like, I'm on a payment plan with those, and you know, although I am getting fancier, but still, the goals, the missions are to make it to where anybody can enjoy these fancy things. And and really the biggest obstacle is alcohol. Hate to say it. I like alcohol. I had a lot of fun. Like back when I drank, like I had a lot of great times. I had a lot more bad times, but I had some really great times. And so like I don't believe in any prohibition, but the first things that the first thing that I asked Grok was if he could or they could see. I don't know what Grok is. I assume it could be a lady, could be a it doesn't matter. Um, First thing I asked Grok is to talk about the dangers of cannabis and then compare and contrast them with alcohol and tobacco. And performed beautifully, and it actually aligns with a lot of like, and it's not just confirmation bias. It's not like I'm seeking out like, oh yes, of course I knew this. Like I know there still are dangers to cannabis, and it highlighted the dangers. Smoking it is more dangerous than just ingesting it. There are memory issues. It does affect your short-term memory while using it, and potentially it can affect your long-term memory. However, and this is one of the responses I included, is I've been using cannabis since I was 14, like, and pretty regularly too. The only times I stopped it was when I was trying to get into the Marines, so I quit smoking, and I still failed the UA. So they didn't. I washed out basically, and I chose academia. Went right back to smoking, and then I got in trouble for unrelated things. I got into a physical altercation with somebody who was drugging and raping people. I will say that again. He was drugging and raping people. So I called him out on it. He punched me in the head. We got into a fist fight, and the cops found drugs, and I went to jail. They didn't really care so much about, the fist fight or the fact that I almost killed this guy, but no, I got third degree assault because like they didn't really see much damage on him. I couldn't reach his face. He was a rather tall guy, but and I was bleeding, and if anything, so yeah, third degree, that's the lightest assault. It's like, okay, you assaulted him, but it wasn't really severe. Like the injuries were fine. It was more like psychological injuries that I injured him with. Because I got out a butterfly knife, a baseball bat, like, because he put me in a chokehold. Actually, let's not go down this road. We'll talk about that. Because that is really dealing with the shack of shame and Will. I will say his first name because he's a piece of trash. And he's had all this time to apologize, and that's the thing. apologize, try to make it right. He just buried his head in the sand and thought that the problem would go away. Never mind that I remember, and I talked with one of his victims. I talked with this gal that was same age as me, or around our age, that said, "Hey, I think that happened to me." Because she was like, I was drugged and I don't remember. And I woke up and he was around, like, and so, yeah. And two ladies came forward, got him on the phone, got him to admit that he knew. Yeah, we might as well talk about this. We started off with cannabis, but alcohol. This guy drank tons of alcohol, and and the thing is I don't want him to be punished. I want him to not have done it, and I want to stop other people from doing it in the first place. And he was part of the Pi Kappa Alpha, and fueled with a lot of alcohol, and then taking shortcuts is what it is. So basically, when you drug and rape somebody, you're taking a shortcut. You're not putting in the work to woo them, to impress them, to get consensual interaction. Like, you're taking shortcuts. That's as simple as to put it. And that's not okay, because these particular shortcuts can be very damaging to the victim in this situation. Like, sex offenders are some of the worst in jail because everybody knows. Like, if you take something from somebody, you're a thief. But if you do something to their body, you're a thief of their mind. Like, you're a thief of their happiness. You're a thief of their everything. That could ruin their life if they don't use proper medications, PTSD stuff, like, and then you add on to that, well, mushrooms are still illegal in a lot of places. That's the remedy for PTSD, one of them that we're finding. It's not the only thing. Like, sure, you can fix PTSD with other things, but it's a heck of a lot easier just to eat some boomers, like, and then go on an adventure, have a spiritual journey. And that was another thing that Grok started talking about is the Native Americans here in America, they knew about this. They used psychedelic stuff like peyote in their rituals, in their spirit lodges and stuff, because they saw the power of these things. That not only were they like, you'd have fun and have a fun time and everything, you would go on an adventure. You would discover yourself and like truths about yourself and unlock these things that you'd be able to grow from and be like, okay, or you'd at least get a different perspective that's healthier, or any number of things. Also, I'm curious. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. We could actually move the whole thing in there. In fact, should we? Well, for now, let's just go do this. So, I mean, I still got to go get ready, get to work. So, I mean, that's actually what I showed up to talk about today. Well, and also, I went back and did add all of the Joker Tower videos back in. I need to go and do descriptions, and I'm starting to work on that with my Dark Souls playlists. At least those are easy. I want to go in and tell, like, okay, in this one we beat this boss, or in this one we went here. Uh-oh. I'm gonna need to go get some more of this soul soil. So, but anyways, I'm just gonna continue to work on my channel and kind of improve it. By the time you see this, the majority of you, it'll be cleaned up. That's one thing I loved about Fighting Cowboy stuff. I watched his Dark Souls and his Bloodborne. I think I started with Bloodborne. That's like my ultimate favorite game. Like, still, of all the Dark Souls. Now, Dark Souls 2 is my second favorite. Yeah, it's just so good. And Dark Souls 1, I'm really liking Dark Souls 1, but I need to go back and do another playthrough of that. I'm doing one, and it's kind of like my Let's Play, or like, first discovering this thing. I didn't even realize Dark Souls was the first one. I thought Demon Souls was the first one. But then turns out that was a spin-off. Like, it was Dark Souls, then Demon Souls did like some kind of like, it looked like more futuristic with like portals and technology, and it looked like there was like computers and stuff in the main hall, or like an alien technology. Like, it had more of like a technical vibe, I feel like, when I watched that. I still haven't played that one, which, I mean, that's another thing that I'll probably want to go check out. But, and I think they tried to do a whole lot of different stuff with like the gameplay, the fighting stuff. Dark Souls 1. Yeah, oh, look at that. It's almost perfect. Okay, let us go get some more of this nether soul soil? Soul sand? Soul soil, I think it is. No, soul sand. Anyways. So, Grok 3. That's awesome. And then I also, and of course we have DeepSeek, which I interact with this. She never responds. I don't think she really likes me a whole lot, but she tolerates me. But she's a government official from China, and I comment on some of her stuff. She's stationed in Ireland, so in being of Irish heritage, I feel like that's a little more fitting that I interact with that delegate to the Chinese government because I'm of the descendant of Ireland. I have Irish blood and German. I mean, those are the main two, and then everything else is like mutt. Like I feel like I've got a little bit of everything. So it's almost like that South Park episode where people from the future come back, and it's like when the world is mixed into one race, one language, which is a combination of every ethnicity, every demographic, and every language. Okay. So this stuff. Although I don't want to keep. There we go. It's like if we can, I would rather take a bunch that doesn't affect the structure. Like I don't think any of this. I mean, it's starting to dig down, so we gotta be careful. But we'll start getting into our hallway and whatnot. Yes. This is quite extraordinary. I like the sound effects too. It's just go. It's almost like it's sighing or it's like releasing. Uh-oh. This isn't the useful stuff. I like the city texture pack because I mean, it has the circle, the ripples, so you know that that's the stuff. Whereas in the normal stuff, it has like skulls, so it's pretty cool too. So, anyways, I don't know. And then it's interesting to see and it's weird to me. I've been calling Trump President Trump a lot more. Like he just elicits respect. And I wanted to hate him. I really did. I'm like, following all of my Democrat colleagues and the things and stuff and even when he made the declaration that there are only two sexes, okay. That's actually scientifically accurate. The correct way to think about it is there are like a number of genders, and gender fluidity is a concept. There's entire classes. Like I know that there's a very big study. In fact, I learned about hedras way back in the day in my undergrad, and hedras are gender fluid people, more like feminine leaning. Oh, oh, I guess I broke the sand that had the bucket. But, anyways, they were gender fluid people in India, and it was interesting how my professor described them. He was like, you know, not everybody accepts them, but it's bad luck or it's not okay to mock them or be angry about them. So it's just something they put up with. And that sounds exactly like America. It's like they're not very accepted. They're tolerated, but they're not accepted. I mean, by a lot of people. And even the tolerating, like when it comes to their own kids, like Elon Musk has a transgender kid, I believe, or gender fluid kid. And so I've seen him get mad about how they're talking about it in schools. And I think that if they're going to bring it up in schools, which honestly, we should bring up more stuff in schools, not less. I mean, especially middle school and high school. Like by the time they get to now elementary school, yeah, let's get rid of the trans flags in elementary school. You shouldn't be having to try to put that on them at such a young age. Like, I mean, but at the same time, it has to be done appropriately. It's like teaching sex ed to elementary school. Like, there's a time and place, and it's called fifth grade when the kids start hitting puberty. That's when they learn about sex ed. Like, the very first, they have the puberty videos. Like, this is what's going to go on with your body, and, and this, and so you got to be careful. And of course, some of them will talk. And I remember I went to a conservation camp where kids were getting freaky, and, like, it was like we were all camping up there, and they tried their best to keep the boys separated from the girls, but it was middle school or high school or something, and it was like, yeah, what do you think they're gonna do? And so it was just funny. But anyways, and that's the thing. Is like, well, we've got plenty now. Let's go ahead and head on back. I'm gonna need to come back and fix this sometime, but for now, we'll go ahead and just put that. I broke that. We'll put those there. That, why not? Actually, as I say that, and I took all the netherrack out. Let's see. Just for now, and actually, I don't want that. to be thread the needle. There we go. Okay. Just because if I do come back here and if I were to take it off of... How was I not able to go back there? I just don't want to get shot by a gas. Like, that would be terrible. I don't think they can spawn in here because of the light, but yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and return those. Oh no! Thread the needle didn't work. That's right, you can't have that stuff up there. Okay. So anyway, it's like, again, South Park's episode, the Museum of Tolerance. Tolerance doesn't mean accepted. And Mr. Garrison, he tried to get fired by showing a bunch of inappropriate stuff to his kids, and everybody was just like, "Oh, what a brave soul! Oh, how," and it's like, no, this is not appropriate for children. This is not, and that's I kind of agree with that. Like, I don't think we should be talking about transgenderism in preschools. Now, you could leave it as it's cosmetic. I mean, and I don't know. There's got to be some other ways to do it because scientifically, we're just not there yet. Now, if we get to where a man can become pregnant and a woman can impregnate a man, then we can say, yes, the sex has changed. But until then, until like, and I don't know if that's the exact thing. Like, it could be any number of benchmarks. Until then, it's the gender, and the gender is different than the sex. And that's why when Trump said that, it didn't really bother me much. I mean, I'm sure it was a slap in the face to a lot of people, but guess what? Seeing Biden talk about a quarter-size amount of crack give you 5 years in prison. Granted, I don't think anybody should be smoking crack, but what about the people that do fall on hard times? They hit rock bottom and they find themselves doing stuff like that. Or they're just like, hey, let's party hardy and all this, and like they happen to smoke it at a party, or they do a number of drugs. Like, 5 years, and they steal, they take your stuff, they take your possessions, they can take everything, is the way Biden put it. And so, because they can't tell what did you get from the world of drugs, and what did you buy from your work, like, that's what's concerning to me. And I've shown that to people, and they're still more mad about, oh, but no, I mean, this intolerance cannot stand. I'm like, are you kidding me? What intolerance, what about this intolerance? 5 years is a long time to be in prison. It's a long time. I did 4 years in and out of a halfway house, and that was a long time. Think about it. That's your high school career. That's your college career, your undergrad, unless you're a 5-year senior. But even then, like, that's 90% of your college experience for all, just like bachelor's degree having people. Now imagine every memory you have in college, every last one, and replace it with being in prison. Seriously. Like, I feel like that's kind of like whoa, we do that to people, and that's just the beginning. If you were caught in possession of a quarter-sized amount of crack, that's where you go. Now, if you're caught selling it, and say you have 5 baggies with a quarter-sized amount of crack in each baggie, whoa, we're talking 17 years. That's what they were originally, like, threatening me with. And then they walked it back when they realized I wasn't some kind of kingpin or anything. But even then, it's like, I thought about that. I was like, hold up. You were getting ready to put me in prison for almost half a lifetime, like, or at least a third. I mean, of a lot of people's life expectancy. I think ours is like 70 something because of how many people die of at young ages. Like, so you're essentially like 1/4, and that's the good years too. Like, if I was like a 80-year-old dude, yeah, I'd be a major drug kingpin, like, whatever. I don't care. I'm about to die. Like, that would be different. But if most of this is happening to people in their prime. They either go to the military and serve their country, or they end up in the war on drugs and being punished by their country. So, okay, like, and that's what bothers me. And unfortunately, this one particular person I'm arguing with is a family member. And, like, she's mad that I'm just not angry at Trump. Trump's talking about decriminalizing cannabis. Like, he hasn't done it yet, but I think it's coming. At least leaving it to the states, like, and then backing off the federal level. And I'm all for that. We're basically a country of 50 little countries. And each little country deserves to have their sovereignty respected. If they don't want it in their state, they don't want it in their state, and that's fine. Like, and I honestly think that that's fine for Idaho. They don't want cannabis. Okay. They've decided that. So it's not fair for the government to be like, okay, now cannabis is legal here. It should just be decriminalized at the federal level, and then it could still be criminalized at the state level. And then I think that would be fine for a lot of folks. Like, I mean, it wouldn't be great, but it has to be a pull versus push. You can't force these things on people. Otherwise, it's going to be met with opposition. Like, don't tell me what to do. Like, it's disrespectful because they're assuming that you're not an adult capable of making adult decisions. I mean, having said that, like there's a lot of adults that still believe the reefer madness and are still on about that propaganda that way. So I mean, I guess I can kind of see how it would go back and forth a bit. But as far as like trying to get me to be angry at all this stuff, and this person was visibly angry, started gripping her chair harder, like she gritted her teeth, she growled at me, like, and I was just like, holy crap. Like just because I'm not, and that's that echo chamber. That's that divisive politics. Like she's a very smart person. She's a very logical and rational. Well, I wouldn't say super logical and rational, not to the point of like, understanding computer science and algorithms. And once you understand algorithms like that make computers do things, I feel like it starts to help people understand algorithms that why people do things. Because at the end of the day, we're just a bunch of fleshy computers ourselves, like, inputs, outputs, maintenance, like all the different things. Like, there's things that concerns and controls and all that, just as relevant with people as they are with computers. Sometimes even more so. Like if you're trying to fix a person, you got to get in there and see what works, see what doesn't. Everybody's different based on their history, their environment. Oh, yeah. So it's interesting. So I guess, and actually, here I should probably just go. I kind of want to. Maybe I'll cut this short. I was gonna go another 8 minutes, but I would really like to go eat some like good breakfast, and then I gotta head into the office. So, but anyways, I guess that's it. Happy Thursday. Just know that I'm gonna continue my work. These are side projects. My day job is fixing IT issues. Like that's what I get paid to do, and I get paid pretty well. I'm gonna only continue to get paid better. Like that's the thing. Is like, I'm still early on in my career, so and yeah. But I mean, the side projects, communal. I'm going to talk more about that. Make It Right, which is a subset of communal. So anybody who had to take shortcuts back in the day, and I'm talking mostly the war on drugs, like anybody who stole from somebody, who sold bad drugs or sold lightweight bags or ripped people off or otherwise took shortcuts, you know, are would be able to make it right through Make It Right. And then communal lending, like no questions asked, like no worries. If you just need to borrow some money, like you can. It's like payday loans, but not as much of a ripoff. And like payday loans are kind of a ripoff, even though as I say that, I might need to go make a payday loan because I don't know. I gotta get braces for one of my kids, so I need like $600 cash, and it's like I'm not quite comfortable to where I just have $600 lying around. Like, you know, I'm getting to there, but I still have a lot of student debt. And see, there's another thing. Trump said that he wants to do free bachelor's degrees. Now, whether he does it and whether or not, okay, he wants to start the American Academy, which would give bachelor's level classes. And I believe that because one of the biggest expenses for people and why healthcare is so expensive is because if you want a good doctor that knows what they're doing, you need somebody that went to school for like 20 years. I mean, not really, that's an exaggeration, but when you think about it, a doctor has their undergrad, then they have to get their master's, then they have to get their doctorate to be a doctor. So there you go. Catching all these people before they go to bed. No, no, no. Trade these things. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Got to get back to my level 200 or whatever because I died exploring. So, but anyways, have a great day, everybody. We'll make a nice short one there, but basically communal. Check the descriptions. I'm gonna start including it in everything, even the Fortnite tributes to some of my favorite artists. Like I'll have communal like wedged in there as well as links to their stuff. And Redman's liking my stuff. He's reposted some of my stuff, hyping up his album like that. Oh, I can't believe that. It doesn't mean that we're gonna go hang out or anything, like or any like weird stuff, but it's just like someone that I look up to and I've looked up to for several years appreciated what I said. That's powerful. Like that, I can't even begin to explain that. That is like flabbergasted, amazed, like astounded, you know. And it's the red man. It's not like some fake bot. I know plenty of fake bots that pretend to be like that. It's like, okay, yeah, sure. But this is the red man. And I talked to his sister. What? Not like personally, like, well, I mean, I did. Like, we were in a chat about the United Empowerment Party, and it's a group of people trying to get cannabis decriminalized or even legalized, but at least decriminalized, so people will stop getting arrested for it, put in jail, all that stupid stuff. So, anyways, that's my time. I'm gonna go get ready for work and head on out. But have a great day, everybody. And if you're seeing this and cannabis is already legal nationwide, congratulations. But as of this moment, as of today, there are still people in prison for growing, for selling, for trafficking, all of that stuff. And I want to get them all out of there. They need to go. And I don't buy it like they broke laws. Well, those laws were unjust in the beginning. They should not have been there, especially around cannabis, but honestly around all drugs. Like the fact that somebody can have their life ruined or potentially go end or impact other people's lives because they think their lives are ruined. Like it's just this vicious cycle. And there are enough smart people that are aware that are not going to stand for it anymore. And we're not going to violently do anything. That's the anti way. But a bunch of hippies and a bunch of wise ones are going to come out and just be like, this is what we're going to do. And it wasn't happening. Like I want to say I'm still a Democrat, but like it was not happening. They speak at rallies, they do this and that, but they just kept toying with it. Biden, the whole time he was the president, I'm done with Biden. I'm so mad at him. Like, like he kept doing this, and he kept like championing for transgender stuff. Who the cares? Like, yeah, that's great. They're not facing hardship, adversity. Like, if they Oh, sorry, and I guess that's why I keep talking. No, we are going to go until time this one because I want to explain this. I don't hate transgender people. I have a cousin that's transgender. I I've been friends with gay people all my life. I had a lesbian music teacher. I had all these things. I thought my preacher was a lesbian. I have never once had a problem with people that do non-traditional sexual values or have non-traditional sexual interests. Like that's fine. Bisexual. I feel like a lot of people are bisexual anymore. Not a big deal. Like, but the thing is, it's not like whites only fountains, and it's not like cannabis prohibition. You're not being forced. Now, you're being forced to use a different bathroom. I think we should fix that by, in fact, we should be writing this stuff down. So we've got next to the shack of shame, we should put the shack of solutions or something, not a shack. It should be like, the imperial building of, or not imperial. Let's be careful not to get into Star Wars bad side stuff. But so we have the shack of shame, where we're going to talk about Will, who took shortcuts with rape and drugging his rape victims, and Fong, my landlord, and Desiree, another landlord. She put an oil cross on my door. Um, it was weird. I kind of got mad about it. I was like, even as someone who grew up Christian, this offends me. Like, are you saying that I don't have morals? That I need this? Like, she probably thought she was doing a nice thing. Like, oh, let's protect him. Let's do this. Let's do that. It's like, nah. So whatever. But anyways, um, yeah, I think that there should be a standard, just like changing your name. To legally change your name, you should have to legally change your gender. Like, and if you're committed, only if you want to use the bathrooms. That's my thing. If you are passable and if you look enough like a woman or if you look enough like a man, like, and I'm telling you, like some of the transgender women to males, I can't tell. Like they've got beard hair, they've got, like they look like dudes, like power to them. Like you look like a dude. It's actually very strange. I've seen, well, anyways, we won't go into that. We'll try to keep this PG, in case any kids stumble on this. But I think that just like changing your name, if you're that invested into changing your identity and making it official, power to you. You need to go to the courts and you need to have them legally change your gender. Now, once you have it legally changed, or I mean, it's kind of tricky because you can't legally change a sex because at a biological level, you still have the chromosomes, the XY or the YY or the XX. I forget what the combination is, but you could be told that you were a cis male or cis female. But if you were legally changed then I think you should be able to use the bathroom. But until that point, and I think that's what a lot of the people that are mad about this are afraid of is like, what if it's someone just beginning their transition and they still look very much like a man walking into a woman's bathroom, or, the other way. Like, it doesn't happen as much, I'm sure, like because testosterone and estrogen, on average, like I feel like women are a lot less likely, but maybe when they get on that testosterone, they're starting to take it. Maybe they'll get a little more bold and try to use the men's restroom. Honestly, I don't think I would care if a straight up woman used a men's restroom. I'd kind of chuckle and then go do my thing and then leave. But that's the difference. Is like women, it's scarier because they could be assaulted, they could be attacked, like they could be, whatever. Like that could be there could be someone abusing this, being like just like the people that abuse churches and assault like children, sexually assault children. Like I talked about that with a friend. I was like, well, why are there so many pedophiles in the church? He's like, well, it's not that it's the church. It's because the church is accepting of all people. So it attracts people like that because it doesn't turn anyone away. So then you get the good and the bad, the really bad. And then they rise up in the ranks within the church and then they start abusing things like, so, and that made sense. Like that made a lot more sense than the Bible was making people assault kids because that's just ridiculous. But at least actually, like the Bible talks about all sorts of messed up stuff like sacrificing your kids and stuff. But anyways, ta-ta for now. The alarm did go off. That is a full episode now. I'm loving how big this tower is going. I need to finish that one. I just realized, or just noticed. I want to work on that, make that a taller building, make that higher up, and make this. So we have a ways to go. But the Shack of Shame, and we need to make a building, or maybe this has the solutions. I don't know. But ta-ta for now. I will see you in the next one. Happy Thursday, everybody.